Happy Saturday, people. It's Jacob calling on the one up top. Hope you're having the best weekend so far. If I'm honest, I'm having a nice one. I've had my feet up. I've had a bath, a bubble bath. Sad as it sounds. Just relaxing and preparing myself for this game that we've got at Turf Moor, where Burnley entertain my club, Tottenham Hotspur. Before you listen to this, make sure you like, share, subscribe, do all of that. The channel's growing slowly but surely. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day, and I'm trying to build myself up. But, I'm not going to waffle on. We've got 25 minutes till kick-off. First of all, I want to go to the lineups, which I'm looking at now. So we have gone with Vicario in goal, Pedro Porro right back, Udoji, Van de Ven and Romero, which looks like our strongest back four. Bissouma and Sarr, which is the partnership that we've gone to in the last three games, along with Maddison, Kulusevski and Solomon behind Son. This is a thing that we've been calling for quite a lot in the fan base, but I feel a little bit weird about it because Richarlison's only just scored his first goal, then we've dropped him. For me, it's like, well, why wasn't Richarlison dropped when he wasn't scoring? Now that he's scored, he's dropped. Don't make sense. But, Ange knows more than me. But I'll show Burnley the respect first and go to their lineup, We've got quite a few players that I don't recognise, I'll be honest with you. But I know a couple of them. You've got Trafford in goal, Roberts right back, Bayer left back, O'Shea and Del Harkill in defence, Goodmanson to the right, Cullen, Berg and Collis Show left wing. And then we've got Amdouni and Foster up front. Now, there's only a couple of players I know there. I remember Sander Berg at Sheffield United. Good player. I always looked at him and thought that, if he got a move to a bigger club, he could establish himself. They're going to try and make it difficult. It's not going to be the Burnley that we saw under Sean Dyche. It's going to be a Burnley that are going to try and play football under Vincent Kompany. Vincent Kompany's going to want he's going to want the points on the board because, everybody looked at Burnley as one of the, out of all the three clubs that got promoted, Vincent Kompany was, were looked at somebody that would survive. If they go into games like this, they're probably not expecting to win, but if they can win games like this and pull off a few banana skins, then it sets them up for the season. So, I'm not going to sit there and sound like everything about Burnley. To be fair, I watched a lot of them in the Championship without looking at, player names and all that stuff because it was just one of those ones where it'd be like a Wednesday night or whatever it was, Burnley are playing, and I'll just watch it just for more to do with the coach because I respect Vincent Kompany as a player, as a coach and as a man. He's somebody that's a legend in the game. So I just wanted to see how his coaching ability was, and he smashed it in the Championship, to be fair. But if we go to my club, again, like I allude to, leaves a dirty taste in my mouth that Richarlison's been dropped after scoring in the midweek. Maybe he's got a knock. I don't know. I'm not in the changing rooms there. Even though Richarlison's had a stinker, you look at it, we've got wingers that would want to get balls into the box, and Son for me is in the centre forward. Like I've said to you in previous videos, Son or Richarlison doesn't fill me with any confidence that either one of them is going to score in the game. If it's a one-on-one, I have more confidence in Son finishing it because he is a lethal finisher on his day. But, Solomon's got an opportunity to impress. I think if we play the intricate football that we've been playing over the last three games, bar the Fulham game in the Carabao Cup, we should get a result. However, I don't want my team or my club to underestimate Burnley because they earn the respect based on the merit and the fact that they come up in the Championship and absolutely tore it to bits. We've got to respect them. The crowd's going to be bumping. Burnley fans have been there before. There's a couple of players that I alluded to that have been in the Premier League before. They want to get that bounce going. And it's not going to be the Burnley that are relying on set pieces. It's going to be more the Burnley that are going to want to get the ball down and be dogged. So, if I'm going to go to my prediction, I'd go with a Spursy 2-1 again. Just like I said at Bournemouth, I think we'll try and control the possession. We'll try and do everything that we've tried to do over the last few weeks, but I generally think that it'll be a tougher game than we think. I think the crowd will be up for it. But on the flip side, I look at what Aston Villa did to them a few weeks ago, and I think Aston Villa are probably on a par with us at the minute in terms of the talent they've got, in terms of the goals they can score and the way that they play their football. So I think if we turn up like Villa did I think it was last Sunday. I feel that if we play our possession-based game, Bissouma's bossing the midfield, I think we can get a result here. But it's Tottenham Hotspur at the end of the day. You look at our transfer window. Our transfer window was very Spursy. That's something that I'll allude to in a video in the midweek. But I'm going to go for the win here. But at the same time, not be cocky with it. So we shall see, people. See you at half-time. Yes, people, it's half-time. It's Burnley 1, Tottenham 2. Sun is shining, Romero is sweet. That's my new tune. Now, I ain't going to lie, I'm not getting too cocky. I just had that song in my head. But, but to be honest, if I'm going to shout out Burnley first, I won't say they had us on toast, but they had me wondering, is this going to be one of those days where everyone's expecting Tottenham to win and then we just crumble? Because they were getting in down the channels. If I speak about their first goal, Porro, he's too, what's the word? He's too hot-headed. He's too, his brain's too busy. He doesn't keep it simple. And a lot of the times when we're getting attacked, the attackers can always see his number. Rule number one as a defender, do not let your attacker see your number. And Pedro Porro seems to do that, not just on corners, just in general. It was a pretty poor goal to concede from a Tottenham perspective, but from a Burnley perspective, it was actually a good goal. Burnley are playing some good football. I think their issue is maybe their resilience. There's a lot of players that haven't played in the Premier League. Vincent Kompany's never managed in there, and we're playing a brand of football that if you're not ready for it, you won't survive in the Premier League. I know it's early doors, but once we got the equaliser, we've just dominated. In hindsight, I said it left a dirty taste in my mouth that Richarlison didn't start. But then when you see Son score a goal like that, you kind of think Richarlison would have not only played the 1-2 properly, probably wouldn't have scored the finish in that emphatic fashion. We all know that Son, if there's one thing that you can't discredit him for, is finishing. You put him in a one-on-one situation, squaring up against a defender or a goalkeeper. I used to go as far as saying that he's got as much chance of scoring the goal as Harry Kane. The issue is that he was playing on the left, so he has to kind of create his chances, or has to be fed by a striker or a central midfielder to be capable of getting them chances. Maddison's been bright again. He's looking like a bargain already. The thing that concerns me with Maddison is that if he gets injured, who's doing that? Lo Celso's got a thigh problem. He weren't even doing it even if he was fully fit. But it's a blessing to Spurs to have a player like that. I've been crying for a replacement for Eriksen for a long time. And he's pretty much like Eriksen with a lot more pace. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to sit there and say he's better than Eriksen, because Eriksen, after Dembele, was probably my favourite player of that era in our club. But he's doing very well. If I'm going to criticise the half, I'd probably go as far as that. I've already alluded to Pedro Porro. I'd also say Solomon. I'm not going to cuss him, but I think he needs a bit of bedding in time, because you could see that he was the player that as soon as he made a mistake, all the players were onto him. I haven't played at a Premier League level, but I've played Sunday League, Saturday, semi-pro and stuff like that. And, when you've got a player that comes in that he's only just joined sort of thing, and then it gets to the point where, the whole team's unsure of him, and he misplaces a pass, or he doesn't see a cross, or something like that. Everyone's onto him because he's only just joined the changing room. You get that energy with Solomon, but at the same time, you've got to say that whether he has a stinker today or scores a third goal, he just needs bedding in time. Every player does. There's some players that hit the ground running like Maddison, but there's some players that just need to hit the ground running. He's not going to hit the ground running and take it easy by continually coming off the bench. Effectively, we need him to be starting games and figuring out players, just like Ange alluded to when we lost to Fulham. But yeah, you know, it weren't too bad. I think Sarr needs to come off. He's showing his age. You know, I think, you know, a lot of Tottenham fans wanted Højbjerg out, but I wanted him to stay because he's proved that when Papa Sarr isn't having the greatest of game, he comes in and shores it up. So, you know, let's say in the next 15 minutes the score stays the same, I'll be happy for Højbjerg to come in and just shore it up and maybe allow Burnley to attack, we soak it up, punish them on the counter-attack and get a third. So, yeah, overall I'm happy. You know, great finish by Romero. He doesn't do that often, but he's proven to be a leader on the pitch anyway. I'm not sure what goes on in the dressing room, but people like him and Maddison, there was questions asked as to why they being given vice-captaincy and third captaincy respectively, but they're showing on the pitch that they're taking responsibility in terms of carrying us forward, defending and scoring goals. So, yeah, can't complain. You know, first 20 minutes, I honestly thought, here we go again. You know, I've been hyping up about Tottenham. There's Tottenham now predicted 2-1, and if it stays the same, then happy days. But we'll see how it goes second half. I'd like to see how it goes for the first 15 minutes. The way the game was going, I think it looks like it's only going to be 15 minutes, and if Solomon isn't cutting the mustard, Richarlison will come on. And I'm happy for Richarlison's come on because I think if he scored a goal in the midweek and he's been left out, we don't need to see the sulking anymore. If the sulking is building up a hunger within you, Ange has made the right decision. I think that's part of why Ange has done that, just to say, look, I know you scored. Let's see how you react to being on the bench, just to confuse your emotions. But yeah, that's the only change I'd see going forward. Højbjerg and Richarlison, but who knows? It depends how the game goes. So we'll see you at full time. Yo! Jacob at the one up top. Final result. Burnley 2, Tottenham 5. Wow. Yeah, to say that I'm happy with the performance is an understatement. I don't even know where to start. Shout out everybody. Don't even know what to say. You know, if I want to go to the opposition first, because I want to show them respect. I think with Burnley, they dug in. Don't get it twisted. They dug in and they dug in well. And if they took a few of their moments in the first 20 minutes, could have been a different game. And that's the one slight negative on Tottenham. It's like there's times where we've rode our luck. We rode our luck against United. We rode our luck against Burnley. We rode our luck against Bournemouth. You know, but you earn your own luck, I suppose. But I want to say to Burnley, they kept going on. Shout out Josh Brownhill, who came on second half. I feel that if he started the game the way he finished it, might have been a different game. He was all over the place, shooting, and got his goal. But I think, you know, Vincent Kompany's kind of realised that implementing his style and the way he wants to play football in the Championship was easy because there's not a lot of teams that are trying to play that way. So if you're playing that way and it works, you'll probably win the Championship. If you're playing the way that, you know, the way he does, and it doesn't work, you'll probably stay in the Championship, you'll try and get promoted. Whereas when you come into the Premier League, like the commentators were saying in the game, it gets to the point where as much as you want to implement your style, if you're stubborn, you'll just do what Blackpool did, you know, a few years ago, where they came in, they were playing with your Charlie Adams and all that. They were playing electric football, but Blackpool were, but because they went into certain games and didn't learn that sometimes you just got to hang about and sit into the game and maybe try and get a draw against a Fulham away, or, you know, if you're 1-0 up against Man United with 10 minutes to go, don't keep pushing forward, like go and get the result. And that's something that Burnley are going to have to learn quickly, because you do get that Blackpool vibe where, you know, Burnley at times, they were playing some good football, I promise you. But, you know, what's the point of playing brilliant football and losing 5-2 every week? But, you know, Burnley will learn. Vincent Kompany's an intelligent man. He was an intelligent player. So I'm sure he'll learn. He tried to change it up, to be fair to him, and make it a 5 at the back. But that didn't really help Burnley's cause either way, because I'm not a manager, but when I saw him go to a back five, I thought, well, you're just telling us that you've accepted defeat. That was my opinion. The commentators thought, yep, they want to get Burnley's wide players in, but I was like, no, you've kind of told me that you've already lost the game at 2-1, and I was kind of right, because it was 2-1 at half time, you went to a back five, and we were 5-1 up. So, yeah, that's enough on Burnley. In terms of us, you know, it's got to the point where I kind of said before that it was sad that Richarlison got left out, but I look at the way we played for them first 70 minutes. I think even if Richarlison was playing, he might have got one goal. You know, like I said, you can rely on Sonny, man. When them 3 opportunities you got there, if you give Sonny them opportunities tomorrow, he'll still bang 3 goals. Whereas Richarlison will probably snatch it or square it, because Son's got more quality and Son's got more confidence. It's just as simple as it goes. You know, if you're a player that at one point has won the Golden Boot before, you're not going to be short of confidence. But yeah, I'm not just going to go on about the goals. It was some performances. You know, there were some steady eddies in there. You know, Adogi again, like this guy, like just solid. You know, everybody was concerned about him going backwards, but going backwards, no problems. Going forward, solid. Romero was solid again. Van der Ven, you know, he had his little moments, but you can see he's growing into the role. Pedro Porro again is a little bit, for me, he's still a bit like, you know, mental in the head. But once he steadied himself, had a decent game. A couple of through balls going forward from him, to be fair, which I was pleased with. Basuma doing his thing again. But again, sometimes I think Basuma feels that he's not going to lose the ball full stop. And, you know, against better opposition, we'll get caught up against that. You know, Basuma thinks he can take on 1 player, 2 player, 3 player against Man City, and then the 3rd player he runs into is Rodri. We'll just keep conceding goals. Papasar's still learning, and like I said, Højbjerg came in and shored it up. Kulusevski again had a good game. I just feel that these kind of performances, he needs to get more goals and assists. But the main guy for me today was probably Maddison. You know, again, it's like it's a snip. You know, I don't care what nobody says. It's like, I only feel that there's only 1 or 2 players. You know, there was a stat that come up again in the game, where the commentators were saying that the only player that was involved in more goals last season as a creative midfielder was De Bruyne over Maddison last season. But De Bruyne won the treble, and Maddison got relegated. So that speaks volumes. You know, Vardy weren't scoring goals. Iheanacho weren't scoring that many. I think Maddison was Leicester's top goal scorer last season. So again, it looks like a snip. But like I keep alluding to, I'm not going to get too gassed. It was a great performance. We look like we're guaranteed to be second in the league before we go into the international break. You know, unless Arsenal absolutely smash Man United or Liverpool do the same to Aston Villa, we look like we're second in the league. But like I say, all those players that I alluded to, take one of them out, who do you trust? You know, Adogi comes out, are we happy with Ben Davies? Of course we're not. You know, if Son gets a long-term injury, is Richarlison going to do what Son did today? No. There's nobody in this squad that can even do a little bit of what Maddison did, and the same with Basuma. So, you know, with African nations coming up in the January, you know, like I'm going to do a video in the midweek, the transfer window wasn't that great, because right now, if we keep each player fit without the Carabao Cup, with which we're playing one game a week, up until the January. But then it's like all of a sudden we're going to be stuck, because we've got African Cup of Nations. There could be injuries. You know, all of a sudden we could go into January with Højbjerg and Skip. But again, it's all about the rotation of the squad. We've got to believe in Ange, and he's got a massive task, because if you're going to be a yes man, you've got to improve what you got. But yeah, I'm going to enjoy the rest of my afternoon. I'm indoors with Mumsy, so I'm going to go and cook her a nice meal. You know, a bit of salmon and that. Salmon would probably taste worse if we lost, but we won. Not the West Ham. So yeah, very content, but I hope we go into the international break without any injuries, without any demoralisation, and we go into that international break second in the league. So yeah, one step at a time. You know, with Tottenham, we could end up being in the title race, but Tottenham could also finish 10th. So I'm not going to get too gassed. I hope you all have a blessed weekend like I'm going to. I've got Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday off, as well as the next 2. So I'm going to go and have myself a couple of celebratory beers. I'm going to watch Brighton Newcastle while I cook my mum a beautiful meal. Love always, Jacob on the one up top. Come on, you Spurs.